I'm Rachel White with the Horizon League here with Chris Johnson, head women's soccer coach at IUPUI. Chris, first just talk about what you've been up to, how you've been kind of keeping busy over these last couple of months.
We've been spending a pretty fair amount of time with the team doing Zoom meetings, usually 3 times a week. And my family is actually in the process of trying to move. So that's been a kind of a big thing for us. We were supposed to move this weekend, but that's been pushed back to the next weekend, I think is when we're going to finally make it happen. So that's been occupying a pretty fair amount of our time also. From the college perspective, in addition to the Zoom meetings, just trying to stay in contact with recruits from the 2021 class, kids who are committed to us already, as well as new ones we're trying to learn more about. And beyond that, just trying to occupy the days sometimes.
For sure. And is there a thing or a place that you're most looking forward to doing or being able to go when things are back to sort of normal?
It would be nice to go get a workout in, that's for sure. I've been trying to do, I've done a lot more yoga than I've ever done in my life in the last few months. We ride bikes quite a bit, my wife and I do, so we ride about between 70 and 80 miles a week. There's a nice little trail right by our house that we can access. It's about an 11-mile ride. But in terms of getting into lifting weights and just kind of continuing on with the routine I had before, it would be nice to get into a weight room to be able to do those kind of things. That's one thing for sure.
Makes sense. And you're obviously the chair of our women's soccer head coaches, and I'm sure you've probably talked to them or just other coaches, but how has the focus of you guys really shifted over these last few months from what you'd normally be doing?
Well, normally this would be a very busy recruiting period for us, and that's probably the biggest part that everybody is a little concerned about and trying to figure out, okay, how do we adjust to when things do open up? The NCAA just extended the dead period through July 31st. So when things do open up, how is that going to impact our timelines for recruiting, getting recruits to commit, things like that. If it does open up July 31st, we're back in season, or we're supposed to be back in season at the beginning of August. So that's going to kind of push a lot of those timelines out. So I think that there's a lot of, I would say concern would probably be the best word to use. We're not like up in arms about it, but people are definitely concerned about how that process is going to unfold. May is usually a really slow month for, other than recruiting. There's really not a lot going on. The players are home. You're not really able to do things with them. So it's kind of a time, to take some vacations. I think May and the early part of June, you see a fair amount of vacations being taken, but no one's doing that right now either. So we're all just kind of, a little bit of stir crazy, staying at home and waiting to see what decisions are going to be made regarding to the beginning of the season and the opening back of campuses and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And why did you get into coaching? What is it that you like about doing this every day?
I think the ability to impact young ladies on a higher level or more impactful level. I was a high school teacher for a couple of years when I first got into coaching, and I thought that was one way to kind of really help people, achieve their dreams and their goals, so to speak. I think that I have been able to have a higher level of impact at the college level, being able to do that, recruiting young ladies and watching them grow from 17, 18 people you're recruiting into 22, 23-year-old young ladies who are in med school or law school or different types of graduate school programs, just going out into the workforce. So I think that ability to kind of help people achieve their long-term goals is something that really appeals to me.
It's awesome. All right, now we're just going to do some more getting to know you questions, just ask you about some of your favorite things. So feel free to elaborate on any of your answers or just kind of leave them if you think they speak for themselves.
Okay.
So the first one is, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie is, I would almost have to do doing categories, but I would say that probably my favorite movie is Almost Famous. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I enjoy music and the music kind of industry, and that was a little bit before my time, kind of set in the late 60s, early 70s, and the rock scene and a band, kind of coming in age, and I thought it was a pretty interesting story. I think it's loosely based on Cameron Crowe's life growing up. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite superhero?
A favorite superhero? When I was a kid, it was a Green Lantern. I was a big Green Lantern fan as a kid, but he is definitely fallen by the wayside in terms of the comic book movie sagas. But I enjoy the Marvel universe, the Marvel comic universe, and I've seen all the movies. We even watched them back in like January, February timeframe. We watched them all kind of in not the way they were released, but the chronological order of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've greatly enjoyed those, but probably not one favorite. I mean, I like Captain America. I think he's pretty good. I enjoy Thor, Iron Man. You know, I'm not saying I don't like him, but they're two a little bit more in my wheelhouse, so to speak.
Totally understand. Do you have a favorite TV show to binge watch?
Well, we've gone through a few of them. We watched the entire Friends catalog. We watched Cheers, the entire Cheers catalog. 30 Rock is another one that I'm a big fan of. We watched Frasier, the entire Frasier catalog. That's a good one too. And kind of tied in with Cheers there a little bit. I do like Big Bang Theory. I'm more, I guess, of a sitcom, kind of a binge watching person. That's 22 minutes, you know, or they go by pretty fast. You can get quite a few in an hour, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But we are giving Netflix a run for its money in terms of, I think our cost per show is down to probably less than a penny would be the best way to put that.
Awesome. Favorite food?
So when you say food, do you mean like a specific item or a like Mexican food is my favorite. Like I can eat Mexican food 8 days a week.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy a nice steak. Don't get me wrong. If there's just one individual item, I probably would go with, you know, if it was one individual item, I'd probably go with lasagna. But I do like lasagna. But in terms of like just a whole genre, I'm a big Mexican food fan.
Awesome.
Hard to go wrong.
Do you have a favorite tradition that you do with your team?
Favorite tradition? We do have a Christmas party with the team every year. And we do kind of like a white elephant gift thing. So, but just for compliance purposes, nobody buys anything. It's just things you have at home. So we do that. That's kind of fun. There's a group of friends of ours that we go to church with. Their kids and our kids all grew up together, and we have a Festivus party every year. Do you know what Festivus is from?
Is it Seinfeld? I've heard of it.
It is Seinfeld. You're correct. It was George Costanza's dad. It was Festivus for the rest of us was the slogans. We do have a Festivus celebration every year for that, and other traditions. I mean, go to church on Sundays. You know, celebrate the usual holidays, things like that. Try to spend a lot of holidays with family.
All right, last one. Do you have a favorite community service activity or initiative that you do as a team?
Those have kind of rotated over the years. We did the Jags Reading Club is one that our school has done for many years, and we used to do it. It's done at 9 o'clock, like on Friday mornings. The challenge we've had is because of scheduling conflicts with classes, we tend to have practices at those times in the last couple of years. We used to be very religious about doing it all the time. And I really enjoy the Jags Reading Club that we did. We go to elementary school and kind of rotated around. Which school? I think the one right now is 22 or something like that. It's over by the zoo. It's not far from the zoo is where it is. And I greatly enjoy doing those things right there. We have done some help with, I think it was a Martin Luther King Day of Giving, I think is what it's called. We did several food pantry type things over the years with that. We had Jam the Jaguar Bus, which was another food pantry type of initiative we had years ago that I really enjoyed helping out with. That's something it's kind of just changed a little bit, but we do still try to help with the food pantries every time they have opportunities there. And my wife and I and my kids, we've gone to the St. Vincent de Paul food pantry and helped out there. We usually do it. The kids used to do it as part of their school, like once a year, not fundraising, but a community service project there. And so we've done that on many occasions. So those are ones I'd like to do. Habitat for Humanity a little more than we currently do. Our department has done that the last couple of years. It has always been in the fall when our season's going on, so we haven't been able to help out. I think the last 2 times they've done it, we've been an away game somewhere else. So that's been a little disappointing, but it's something that I could probably do a better job of organizing for our team too.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes to chat with me today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You have a wonderful weekend.